This is Steve Schiffman. I want to thank you very much for joining me in this podcast webcast that we try to put out every single day to help you as a salesperson, or if you're a manager, to help you manage more effectively. Today, I want to go back on something that I did a number of years ago. And it was on this little card that I carry, and I carry this around. It's called 25 Sales Habits. And it was so successful then, we must have given out thousands of these cards. In fact, the address that we had is so outdated that I looked at it and I said, well, we're really in this place. But the reason I want to do this is I want you to start your day listening to some things that will help you be more effective. The only reason we do this, that is this webcast, this podcast, is to help you be more effective. There's nothing else that we do. We don't have 85 people on this call. Now, I was interviewed the other day by someone who does a webcast in Des Moines or someplace, and I did, it was fine. But what really happens is I end up speaking about me, she ends up speaking about her, and the end, and not to minimize this, and the end result is it's kind of a talk fest. I don't want that. I want you to walk away today having some things that you can do. So let's look at this, and I'll read it and just listen to what it is. Number one, you need to be able to communicate trustworthiness. You have to be trusted by your prospect, by your customer, by your employer, and yourself. You have to believe in what you're doing. So trustworthiness. Now, it's not easy to do that. I mean, how do you become trustworthy? You have to be trustworthy. It's the only way to do it. You can't fake it. You can't fake trust. So therefore, that's number one. You've got to ask the right questions. Now, I was with a company this morning that I was coaching, and I said to him, okay, so what are the questions that you ask? Wow. He said to me, a number of them said to me, well, we always ask what they need. And I said, what do they say? Well, they usually say they don't need anything. That's the problem. They don't need anything. Well, if they don't need anything, what are you going to sell them? In fact, one of the biggest problems that we have is that salespeople actually just go in and try to sell a need. Now, I'm going to tell you to wait. I dropped the card, so I have to go down and pick it up. But that's okay, because this is real television. There we go. Now we come back up. All right, so ask the right questions. So what are the right questions? If you go to someone and say, what do you need? They're going to tell you they don't need anything because they have it. And that's the key. The key is they already have it. So if they have it, you need to know how and why they've made that purchase, from who, what is it they're doing about that, where did they get that, where did they find that vendor, and how are you going to get them to switch from them to you, because you are an agent of change. You got to take the lead in the call. You have to be the one that initiates the call and initiates the conversation. Now, you can do that a lot of different ways. I've seen people initiate conversations a billion different ways. But saying to somebody, what do you need, isn't going to necessarily do it. Or what problems, or what keeps you up at night. Those things don't actually give you the information you need. Far better is, I'm just curious, who do you buy from, or how do you do it? Well, when did you do it last? When was the last time you reviewed? You say those things, you're going to get a conversation. You need to engage the prospect. Now, too many salespeople sell. They just sell at the prospect. In other words, the prospect doesn't have to be there, because I'm going to do, not me, but you are going to do your same proposal, same presentation, no matter what they say, because you know what happens? You get bored. You've been doing it for 15 years or 10 years or 9 years or 5 weeks, and after a while it becomes fundamentally the same. And you do the same thing each time. I had somebody I was coaching, and he sold French fries. That's what he sold, French fries. Now, he would go in every single meeting and do the same thing. Our French fries are longer. It's true, are longer than the other guys. I mean, not much of a presentation there, really, if you thought about it. Find the key requirements for them to purchase. What is it that they do? How do they use your product? What do they use it for? Now, I know if you're selling paper, it's kind of obvious, but you'd be surprised why they use that paper. How do they end up using that? Number 6, you need to convert leads. I watch all the time salespeople who get leads from different sources. Doesn't matter whether they call themselves or they get it off the internet or they get a list. Doesn't make any difference. But you got to work it. You got to work it right away, especially if you're getting a list from another company, because that list becomes really stale very quickly. In fact, anybody who even calls you can become stale very quickly. Use product malleability. Listen to that word, malleability. Do you remember the SATs? That was an SAT word, malleability, taking something and remolding it or molding it so that it fit where it needed to fit. Malleability is a big word. You've got to know how you can take your product and make it work for the other person. Be a consultant, because you really are. You're a consultant. You're not a salesperson. You may think you are, but you're really a consultant. And you have an obligation to help people do what they do better. That's what a consultant does. That's what people do. They go in and they help people do what they do better. Ask for the next appointment on that visit. On that visit, when you're sitting in front of somebody, you ask for the next appointment. Why would you not? You're right there. You're there at that moment. That's your opportunity to say, you know, Mr. Jones, I think we should get together in 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever you want to say. But get the next appointment, because that's what matters. Take notes. Now, I'm going to tell you something about taking notes. I had somebody come into my office and he was taking notes, which is fine. I'm not a problem with him. But I said, he asked me a question. I said, no. And he wrote down, no. He wrote down just no. I guess if I said yes, he'd write down yes. It was just on a paper. It was just no. And I thought about that later. I said, so he couldn't remember no? I mean, I could remember no. He couldn't remember no? Makes sense to you? Doesn't make sense to me. You think about that, okay? No. Create a plan for each new prospect or customer. What's your plan? What's your long-term plan? How do you plan to get them there? Do they know it? Have you involved them in that process? I say to people all the time, how are you going to grow that account? And they go, well, I'll get them to buy more. Yeah, but getting to buy more is difficult because they don't need more. Because if they did, they would have been buying it now. Ask for referrals. You know, most people never do that. Most people don't ask for referrals. They're afraid. They're afraid if they ask for a referral, the person's going to say no. You know what? They might just say no. And then, okay, it's okay. So you got to know. But then you know, I'm not going to give you referrals, but you have to frame it. You have to be able to say to somebody, you know, my business is based upon referrals. Other people like you who are in similar businesses. Maybe you could give me a hand in just putting together a list of 5. Make sure you number it. Number 5, not 2,000. They won't give you that, but 5, they might. And try to get the names, addresses, emails, telephone numbers, whatever you want. And then the last thing I'm going to do today, which is number 13, is you've got to be enthusiastic. Enthusiasm is contagious. When you're enthusiastic about what you're doing, when you believe in what you're doing, when you know you're right, it's easily conveyed to people. I want you to be enthusiastic about what you do every single day, no matter who you meet. I don't care if it's the worst sales meeting you've ever gone on. I want you to be enthusiastic about that meeting and enthusiastic about trying to get that sale. If you're not, it doesn't work, and you know it doesn't work. You've got to be enthusiastic. Listen, if I can help you, please reach out to me. Internet's easy. sschiffman@steveschiffman.com. Call me if you want to. Right? Tell me what you're doing. Tell me about what you're doing. And if I can help you, I'll be glad to help you. In fact, I will make you an offer now that I will give you 20 minutes of free consultation if you contact me. All you have to do is write, "I'd like to meet you." That's all you have to do. Write me, go to the internet. And by the way, we got a brand new website. Go to the internet. Say to me, "Like to meet you." That's all you got to do. I will arrange for a conference like this for you. Free. No charge, no nothing. I won't even try to sell you a book. Okay? Fair enough? So this is Steve Schiffman. I want to thank you very much for joining me today. I've got another 13 things to go. Join me later. I'll give you more things. But whatever you do, know that I appreciate your being here today and you honor me by your presence.